and I'm pretty sure that you might be aware of what we are going to discuss today, and we'll be taking the next two topics, right? That we have to discuss based on the syllabus that is there in RIE CE. Please ask your doubts while you are at it, and let us have a thorough discussion and doubt clarification. Meanwhile, we'll also what to say, cover the syllabus. We're going to have two topics today also, that is children and teaching profession and emotional and social adjustment, right? After the one topic, we'll take a break of 5 minutes and then we'll finish off the next topic. We'll do a revision here, and after revision, you are expected to go through the questions, identify the questions, practice them on the app as well as on the PYQs that you have. Shall we start then?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first session is going to be about children and the teaching profession. Okay. Why should we know about children, and also why should we know about teaching profession, and how children are at the center stage of teaching profession? It's very important for us to understand how children are at the center of teaching profession, and what are the different things, what are the various things that we should be aware about, we should know, and how these questions, the information that we're going to discuss in today's class is going to be very important for the upcoming RIE exam. So, why children and teaching profession? Here, for teaching children, there are various aspects that one as a teacher must know. So there is child psychology. One should know about child psychology. One should know about the developmental stages of a child. As a teacher, you should know about the individual differences that are there. And yesterday we were discussing that education is a profession, right? Education is a profession which also is service oriented. So how this service oriented profession is something that we have to look at it, and what are the different aspects that we as teachers need to work on, which will be some more of related to what we have discussed yesterday. And we will also discuss the emphasis. Technically, they also want to check if you have, or if you know some basics about children and the teaching profession, and how this might influence the overall teaching learning process and the education setup. Yes, does anyone have a doubt? Someone unmuted. Yes, Manogna, do you have a doubt? Manogna? Yeah, Manogna has muted herself. Just give me 1 minute. Yes. So these are the various aspects that we are going to cover. Now, coming to different developmental stages that we see in children. It starts with, we'll go from down to up. So it starts with infancy. Can anyone tell me the age group of infants? What is the infancy age group? Yes. From which
0
year
to 2.
Yes, Chinmay, thank you so much. So 0 to 2 years is called infancy. Yes, Sandra, correct. 0 to 2 years is known as infancy stage. And when we talk about a psychologist known as Jean Piaget, so Piaget was the one who coined all these stages, and it will be very interesting. You know what Piaget did? He experimented on his own children. Piaget was a psychologist, and he experimented on his own children at home. And then he brought out the theory of this stages of cognitive development among learners, right? The stages of development among learners. So first one is infancy stage. Here, sensory motor learning and attachment takes place. What is sensory motor learning? One might ask. Sensory motor learning is experiencing things based using your senses, right? From your visual, from your by touching, by smelling, right? So learning things based on using your senses is sensory motor. Just a minute. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Manogna, you have written it as 0 to 5 years. Infancy is 0 to 2 years. Infancy is 0 to 2 years, and here children develop formal operation. Sensory motor learning and attachment takes place. If you're able to remember the class that we discussed, and I had discussed about a psychologist who had done an experiment on rhesus monkeys. Are you able to remember his name? I forgot his name. Okay, it doesn't matter because you're going to learn it anyway. Uh, Okay, I'm not able to remember his name. So he had experimented on rhesus monkeys and the attachment issues and all those things we had discussed. So yes, so the first stage of child development is infancy. What you need to know here is that there are 4 stages. These 4 stages were coined generally by Piaget, Jean or Sean Piaget, Jean. Piaget. So that was his name. And the first stage is infancy stage. The next second stage is early childhood stage. Early childhood stage, can anyone help me with the age group of early childhood stage?
2 to 6 years.
Yes, thank you, Sanidhi, and the other person who said, I'm sorry, your name is not visible here. So 2 to 6 years is early childhood stage. Yes, Purti, it's 2 to 6 years is early childhood stage, and this stage is known as pre-operational stage. Children start identifying people. Children start knowing what are the things that are in front of them. Till children start associating things with, okay, this is mine, this is yours. All those things happen, and something called a social play takes place here. They start playing with other children. If we'll make infants sit together, there are very less chances that they might play together, right? They will be crying for their mother or they'll be looking for their mother. But from 2 to 6 years, we see more of the social play happening where children come together, they play together, and this thing has. Then the next one is middle childhood stage, right? This is called as concrete operational stage. Here they start understanding things. They come under peer influence. What age is this stage? Middle childhood stage? Yes, 6 to 12 years is the middle childhood stage. Here they start, forming groups. They start, they start roaming around with their friends. Friends become their major, group, and they start sharing more things with friends. And the next one is adolescence, formal operational stage. Identity formation takes place in adolescence. We all know that during adolescence, most of us attain, all of us attain puberty. During adolescence, there is a lot of hormonal changes happening in our body, which starts a physical and mental changes in our body, right? And yes, as you have put in the group, the adolescent stage is from 12 to 18 years. Okay, 12 to 18 years is the adolescent age. 13 to 18, 12 to 18, it's fine, no issues. And during the adolescent ages, identity formation takes place, and we start discovering who are we, what are we doing, what should we do, how everything. And adolescent stage is the one where children start sharing more personal stuff with their friends. Friends become their first attendants, and they share more things with friends than their parents. Yes. Moving on to the next one. Any doubts here? The 4 stages: infancy, early childhood, middle childhood, and adolescence. Clear? Pre-operational thoughts. They start identifying things. They start associating things. Neha. So when we talk about pre-operational thoughts, they start, identifying things. For example, if you are keeping what to say, a toy in front of the child, and if you suddenly remove the toy when the child is not looking at it, the child will try to find out, okay, what happened here. I was seeing the toy was in front of me, but where did it go? So students start imagining. Students start experimenting. They start having operational thoughts, right? Imaginative thoughts. They start developing imagination. And language explosion is also something that starts at age 2. And they start learning languages, they start practicing, they start asking for everything. What is this? What is this? What is this? So pre-operational thoughts, starting of imagination. Children start imagining things. For example, if they're watching a cartoon, they start imagining that, okay, this is happening in the cartoon. Dreams and all come in. So that is what is pre-operational thoughts, Neha. So
What's the
why are
difference between formal operation thought and concrete operational thoughts, sir?
See, when we talk about concrete operational thoughts, here we start developing logical reasoning. Okay. Logical reasoning is something that develops at middle stage. When we talk about adolescent stage, here we start having abstract reasoning. That is a difference between concrete operational and formal operational. Okay. Pariksha?
The formal in the sense, like, what is the context? When we say formal, it's more of like, when we take the literal meaning of it,
No, 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 no,
it's
no.
like it's not
Here,
casual.
no, no. Here, not here. The formal operational stage does not come into that definition of formal does not come into play. Here, formal operational thought means a student is able to have abstract reasoning. They are able to, form an attitude towards something. That is formal operational. Piaget has
Okay.
not used the general term of formal here.
Yes, I got it now. Thank you.
Okay, no issues. And why we are trying to understand these stages is because it's very important for us to know what are the cognitive level of children, what happens at this stage, and based on this knowledge, we will be able to develop the pedagogical instructions for them, right? So it is teachers need to tailor, teachers need to plan their pedagogy and classroom management to the cognitive, emotional, and social characteristics of each age group, right? So when you talk plan of teaching a child who is between age 2 to 6 years, what NEP 2020 suggests? Any idea? For children between 3 to foundation stage, what pedagogical strategies does NEP 2020 suggest?
Play based learning.
Yes, play-based learning is primarily suggested for early childhood children. What about when we move to middle stage or higher stages? Problem solving, inquiry, all these things come in. Yes, yes, you all are correct. Shall we move on to the next slide? Yes, I will not be going in detail as I was going before when I did specialized sessions on these topics. I'll not be going in detail. Just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. Yes. Shall we move on to the next slide? Okay. Now, let us discuss about the different theories that are there with respect to learning of children. So first one is constructivism. In yesterday we were discussing about constructivism. The key people who have talked about constructivism are Piaget and Vygotsky. And what constructivism generally talks about is children are at the center of learning. Children are someone who actively construct their own knowledge. Yes. Children construct their own knowledge. The role of teacher is to be a scaffolder, a facilitator, right? So social interaction happens and all other things happen. That is constructivism. And then we also discussed about behaviorism. So when we talk about behaviorism, here we talked about conditioning, reinforcement and conditioning. So Skinner, B.F. Skinner and Ivan Pavlov are major psychologists here who have talked a lot about behaviorism, and they have done a lot of experiments to show that through conditioning we can bring a desirable change. Then comes humanism. Maslow and Rogers are the people who talked about humanism. And in humanism, they actually talk about self-actualization and creating a supportive learning environment for learners. So the more generalized concept of humanism comes in here. Then cognitive theories. So that is how children process the information, right? That is cognitive theories. It talks about how children process, store, and retrieve information, right? So the implication of these theories are with respect to classroom practice. How are you going to use the idea, the knowledge of these theories to build your classroom experiences for your learners? So for instance, for constructivism, we can take activity-based learning, group work, open-ended questions and all. And for humanism, we can take example of discussion on creating safe classroom environments, and all those things can be done. So these are the different theories. Moving on to the next one, let us now discuss about individual differences among learners. We all know that all learners are not same. Every child in classroom is unique. I have always been emphasizing that when you enter a classroom, if there are 30 students, there are 30 individuals who are sitting in front of you, and everyone has his or her own unique talents. So what are the differences that are there among learners? right? So the differences can be cognitive difference. What is cognitive difference? Cognitive difference, we talk about learning styles. What are the different types of learners? Styles of learners or types of learners? There are three major ones. Can anyone talk about the learning styles? Children learn to different styles. There are three major styles.
So maybe
Formal.
visual learning.
Yes. That is correct, Sandra and Shreya. It's visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Visual learners are those who learn through viewing something, right? Through reading or through watching. Auditory learners are majorly who learn through hearing. And then the third aspect is kinesthetic, the learners who learn by doing something, right? Cognitive differences might be based on learning styles. It can be also based on intelligence types. I don't know if you have heard about multiple intelligence by Howard Gardner. No issues. Let us not dive deeper into it. But there are something called as intelligence types also. For example, there is linguistic intelligence, logical mathematics intelligence, spatial intelligence. There are a lot of different intelligence types. So what we are basically emphasizing here is there are students with different cognitive differences in the class, right? There are based on learning styles, there might be differences based on their intelligence styles, there might be different, and also based on the pace of learning. Some students grasp everything very quickly. We call them gifted students or, high achievers. And then we call students as slow learners because they take their own time to understand. And compared to other students, their time taking to understand a particular concept is more. So there are cognitive differences, and when you're having the students in the class, we cannot say that everyone is at the same cognitive level. To be honest, each child is at a different cognitive level, and it's your role as a teacher to plan your instructions according to the cognitive level and needs of the learners. Okay. Then the next one is socio-emotional. I'm just going zigzag. Socio-emotional differences. So socio-emotional differences talks about personality. Every individual has a unique personality. Every individual has a unique temperament, right? Some people are short-tempered. Some people are very docile and very calm, composed. So there is a difference between social and emotional differences exist between learners. There is emotional regulation. Some people are very well able to manage their emotions well, whereas others just start crying, right? Or they just start isolating themselves. All those things are there, right? In social differences, again, we can talk about students coming with different social backgrounds. There is social cultural background for that. Then next comes the physical differences. In physical differences, motor skills are different. Can anyone help me with the meaning of motor skills? What are motor skills? Yes.
So maybe something related to movement and like speaking and or walking.
Motor skill is yes, with related to your movement and walking, and it's also highly related to your writing, using your hands to write, to paint, to draw, right? So those are motor skills, and we call some skills as fine motor skills. For example, calligraphy requires fine motor skills. Abstract painting requires fine motor skills. So there is difference in motor skills among learners. And again, health conditions are also something that is not same for all individuals. There might be students who have some underlying health condition. Some students might have genetically passed down health conditions. So there are a lot of health conditions based differences also that exist in the classroom. Okay, so there are physical differences, and then there are socio-cultural backgrounds. Children in class come from different language, right? They might not all be from same language or language speaking family. Then family values are something that are different from child to child, right? Then economic status. Some might come from a very affluent family, while some might come from a very economically weaker section family. Then cultural norms. Cultural norms are something that varies from culture to culture, and there are students coming from different cultural backgrounds, and those cultural backgrounds also is something that you as a teacher has to consider, right? Then comes children with special needs, CWSN. There might also be children in your classroom who have specific learning disabilities, difficulties. Not only learning difficulties, there might be students with physical difficulties or disabilities, intellectual disabilities, and emotional disturbances. So here we talk more about inclusive education. In yesterday's class, I was talking about UDL. Can anyone abbreviate UDL for me?
Universal design for learning.
Very good, very good. Universal design for learning or off learning. So here we also need to talk about inclusivity, right? We have just now mentioned that in a class there might be students with so many individual differences and on different parameters, on different levels. So as a teacher, it's very much necessary for us to understand what are these, right? So when you entered, okay, thank you, Pratna. Okay, thank you, off learning. So when you enter into the pre-service course, if you, for example, if you're joining the B.Sc.B.Ed in RIE and you're entering the pre-service course, you're going to be taught about all these things in detail. In cognitive differences, you'll learn about different cognitive learning styles. You'll be learning about different cognitive theories, and you'll also be learning how to diagnose and identify students. Similarly, socio-emotional differences, physical differences. So why are you learning this? By learning these things, the theories, the concepts behind this, and different examples, case studies, and all, you will be aware before you go to a classroom. This knowledge is going to help you understand learners better and plan your instructions accordingly. This is why teachers who have done B.Ed are different from teachers who just come and teach without doing a B.Ed. Again, B.Ed from where you have done also matters a lot, B.Ed or B.Sc.B.Ed. Right? Clear with this slide? Shall we move on to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Yes? Okay. Now, what is the role of teacher here? What is the role of teacher? Teacher's role is multifaceted. You have lots of roles as a teacher, not only one role. So first role of a teacher is counselor and supporter. You have to address emotional needs for students. You have to address emotional needs of students. You have to provide a safe space where students are confident to come and share their feelings. Usually what happens is children have a lot of problem because they don't know whom to go and talk. And most of the times what happens is they share their problems or their queries or whatever they are going through with their peers. And all the time peers are not understanding because they are also children. So what happens is peers start mocking them, peers starts making fun of their problem, and this will make children withdraw from that also. They stop staring their troubles, they stop sharing their problems. And what happens when this problem is inside you and it starts piling up, piling up, piling up, it causes a lot of distress and it can have effect on your daily well-being, your emotional and mental well-being. Has anyone experienced this? That you don't have anyone to share. You feel like your parents are not going to understand the problem, and then you don't know how to where to talk about it. So you go and you talk to your friends. And what your friends do, they either make fun of it or they start telling everyone that this or the other person is having this issue. Have you experienced it during school time? We all have been through that stage, right? So as a teacher, you have a role of being a counselor and supporter. By counselor, I do not mean a professional counselor. By counselor, I mean identifying them, giving them an ear to listen to their problems, and making them feel safe when you're talking, they're talking or sharing something with you. Because whatever they're sharing is very much personal, right? So addressing emotional needs of learners and providing them a safe space is also a major role that a teacher has to play in the classroom. Then next one is classroom manager. Not only managing the class, not only asking the students to keep quiet, listen to me. No, right? You have to create a positive learning environment among students while being disciplined. While the environment is disciplined, where students know that what should they talk about, what should they not discuss about, while encouraging students to participate in the class is something that a teacher should do, and this is not easy. Many of the teachers finish their service but will not be able to master classroom management. So just imagine how difficult it is to manage a classroom. Many of my students who go for internship, they say that, sir, classroom management is something that is not happening. I'm not able to do this classroom management, sir, what to do, how to do, and all. I always tell them that, see, classroom management is something that will take time. And you always have to reflect with what you have done. In yesterday's class, we were talking about reflective practices, right? You have to reflect regarding what is working, what is not working, what changes should I make, right? What modifications should I make so that all the learners participate in the teaching learning process and every learner is benefited in the classroom. Okay, so that is classroom your teacher's role as a classroom manager. Then collaborator. Teacher's role is not only limited to your teaching and the classroom. Teacher should be a collaborator. Teacher should work with parents, with their colleagues, and the community members. Right? So there is a lot of work that teacher has to do. So working with parents, other teachers, community members, not only community members, with the administrators, right? With the national level bodies where they are a part of. So teacher's role is also as a collaborator. Then advocate. Teacher's role as advocate for children. You are the torch bearer for protecting children's rights and ensuring their well-being. Children also have their own rights, and you as a teacher should be a strong advocate of students' rights. Yes. Then the next one is facilitator of learning, right? Guiding students, providing them support, creating engaging learning situations, and more, interesting learning situations where children participate with a lot of enthusiasm and motivation. They construct their own knowledge, and teacher is supporting. Teacher is a facilitator, so facilitator for learning. Then mentor and role model. If you remember, there was a question on this role model thing or something. Yeah, I don't know, or there was an option on the teacher being a role model. I don't know if you remember or not. So teacher's role is also to be a mentor and a role model. That is, you have to demonstrate positivity. You have to demonstrate values that you want your children to follow. Only when you are able to showcase and follow values, for example, honesty, punctuality, and other examples. There are a lot of examples that are there for values. So when you as a teacher is demonstrating these values and encouraging students to participate in and showcase these values, students will automatically catch them rather than forcing these values on students while yourself are not practicing them. Okay, so your role is also as a mentor and role model. Yes, clear. Shall we move to the next slide? Okay, I forgot that I should not ask that. Now, next one is child-centered education. What is this child-centered education? Said education needs to focus on the needs, interests, and abilities of the child. Education is not for the teacher to decide what to do for students. So the main purpose here is putting the child at the heart of learning, putting the child at the center of learning. Okay, so I'll repeat again, education should focus on the needs, interests, and abilities of the children. So here we talk about active learning, hands-on experience, problem solving, critical thinking, personalized learning, experiential learning, discovery learning, inquiry-based learning. There are so many techniques or methods that are there. Okay, that we use, strategies that we use to implement this child-centered learning. And not only strategies, there are assessment strategies also. Assessment is very important because through assessment, you'll be able to identify if the child is following up with you in the class or not, and after the class or not also. So formative assessments, continuous assessments, all these things become part of the learning. So for the why we do assessment is to focus on the learning process, to ensure that the learning process is happening properly or not. And once we are able to properly focus on this learning process, we'll be able to see, help the students according to their needs, based on their needs. So learning is, assessment is not just to know the product, how much they know, how much have they scored. Assessment is to focus on the process of learning. Okay. So child-centered pedagogy, when we look in contrast with the traditional one, the behavioral one, where the teacher-centered approaches or teacher is the authority of the class, has been moved on now. Now we say child should be at the center of the teaching learning process. Clear? We'll move on to the next one. Yes. Now let us look into the main thing, the major issue, that is the challenges in teaching learning process. What are the challenges? As we were discussing in the classroom, that there are individual needs of the students and every learner is unique. It takes time and it's very exhausting when we talk about adapting teaching methods to accommodate different learning styles and abilities. Okay, so as there is diverse needs of learners, there are students with diverse needs in the classroom. You as a teacher has to adapt your method to accommodate all the different types of learners in the classroom, which is a major challenge. And then behavioral issues. Managing disruptive behavior in classroom is not easy, right? You have to manage the disruptive behavior and you also have to foster positive learning environment, which is not easy, especially when it comes to adolescents. Adolescents are very difficult to manage. Adolescents sometimes talk back, they comment, or they create lots of issues. I'm pretty sure you also might have seen some similar thing happening in your school. When I was in my school, I studied in Kendriya Vidyalaya, Mysuru also. So when I was studying in KV Mysore, what had happened was when I was in 7th standard, some students of class 8 and 9th, they had locked the teachers inside their chamber, their cabin. They had locked the teachers out in their cabin. They had just lashed it and they ran away. Now no one is ready to open it because the person who opens it might get caught. So there was a very big issue that happened, and students did that for fun. So that is actually a behavioral issue among students because they are not scared or they're not worried, and all those issues are there. So as a teacher, this will be a very major challenge that you have to overcome. That is behavioral issues. Then emotional well-being in the present generation, there are a lot of students who are having anxiety, who are having stress, who are borderline depressed at a very young age. Okay, so addressing stress, anxiety, and social challenges in children is something that is also going to be a challenge in teaching children. Then parental involvement, communicating effectively and collaborating with parents is also a very major task, especially when PTA meetings happen. You're going to scratch your head and you're going to be mad and you're going to be crazy because there will be most of the some parents will be like talking whatever they want. Technically, they'll be talking bullshit. They'll come and say that, so why is my child not doing well? Why is my child not scoring well? Whereas they themselves will not be paying attention to what the child is doing at home. The student is spending more time at home than school. Don't you agree? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No, Manogna, the child is not spending more time at home than school. Is the child spending more time in school or at home?
At
Yes.
home.
Yes, yes, at home also. So, parental involvement is also something very much necessary, right? So, parents also need to actively involve in the whole process, but there will be a lot of parents who will not participate. They will say either I'm too busy or they'll say I don't understand what is happening. There are a lot of issues, and that is one major challenge which you as a teacher might have to face. Okay, then resource constraints. Sometimes you'll end up in a school where all the resources might not be there. There might not be a proper lab, right? There might not be a proper computer or projector if you want to show, ICT based any thing, right? So resource constraints is also something that is there, and making the most available resources in teaching. Right, whatever is there, making the best use of it is something that you have to do. So, resource constraint is also a challenge. Then, professional development. Staying updated with new pedagogical approaches and research is something that is not easy. Why? I will tell you not easy. You might be saying, what is the problem in attending a training program? What is the problem in, reading some time after this or during your teaching, learning, during when you're in school? In school, especially if you become a government teacher, right? There is so much of responsibility of, other tasks that will be given to you. You will be made in charge of certain things. You will be a house master. You will be have to upload some data to CBSE, this, that, this. There are a lot of works will be there. So, they you will not find sufficient time to professional development, which is such major challenge, which is also a challenge that is there in teaching children. Sometimes you'll be put on for deputation work. Sometimes there'll be some program or competition. You'll be sent there. Sometimes there'll be election duty or some other thing, and you'll be put there. So that will affect your classroom teaching. So that is also a major challenge. Then ethical considerations, right? One more major thing that you should look into is ethical consideration, maintaining professional boundaries and ensuring child safety, especially when we talk about adolescents. Adolescents easily get infatuated with their teachers, especially young teachers, right? So they are adolescents. They don't know what exactly is happening or what is right, what is wrong. And in that, they sometimes write letters. You might have seen children writing letters to their teachers. Sometimes they just separately come and talk to you. Sometimes they try to get over friendly. And in the age of social media, they follow you on social media, and they do all kind of texting and all. And so you as a teacher should know what is the line, where to draw the line, and how much is correct and how much is not correct. So ethical consideration is also a major challenge which you as a teacher should consider. Clear with all the challenges that we discussed? Any doubt here?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. Please ask.
Sir, for invigilation and evaluation duty, when JV and KV teachers are also sent, sir.
All the teachers are sent, not only JNV and KV teachers, Sanidhi. Even contractual private teachers are also sent. And that is going to be a problem because your students will not have you in class.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Were you asking that will JNV and KV teachers will also be sent, or you are just telling that they are sent? Sanidhi.
Asking whether they are sent or not.
No, they are sent, they are sent. Central government teachers are also sent for all sort of works. And now census is going to come in Karnataka state. Caste-based census had already started, and next year or maybe by the end of this year, we are going to have national census. When it will happen? Arush? Okay, Arush has been muted. Okay, when was the last census? Can anyone recall when was the last census done?
2011.
Yes, Pariksha. Thank you. The last census one, yes, Manoj. Correct, Gandharvini. Last census was done in the year 2011. So just imagine, from since 2011, we have not done the census, and it is going to come soon. And again, teachers will be pulled in here. Imagine such a large data, such an exhaustive data has to be collected by teachers. I just wish that teachers are not pulled in for this work, but we just have to wait and watch what happens. Moving on to the next slide.
Even if they are asked to do that work, that will be only for the village where they are working.
It will not be limited to village. It will go till block level. That is a problem, Pariksha. And when you talk about a block, it's very big and it's census. You have to go to each village in that block and collect information from each family. And now they are digitizing it. So you have to give your Aadhaar card or your ration card, and based on that, they will cross verify and they'll mark, and it's an exhaustive process.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it out clear, Pariksha?
No, my mom was also a teacher. Like, she is a teacher, and when she was given that work, it was restricted only to some. Like, she works in village, so it was
Uh,
only for 2 3 villages which was nearby. So it
okay,
was
she's a government school teacher.
yes, sir.
Okay, so my uncles, my father's two brothers are also government primary school teachers, and
Yeah.
they were sent at the block level. So maybe because she's a female, she might not have been sent to the block level because that would be too much exhaustive. But I had a discussion with them, and they were sent to the block level. So they were collecting data from a lot of places, not only one village.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So next is qualities of an effective teacher. Let us look into the qualities of an effective teacher. First one is patience and empathy. Understanding and responding to the children's need, having patience, listening to the children. If there is a conflict, trying to understand from both sides what has happened, how it has happened, and what is the best way to go ahead. Trying to understand the problem from students' perspective, empathy. There might have been questions in the PYQs where they might have asked, a child comes late to the class. A child is regularly coming late to the class, or a child comes late to the class. As a teacher, what will you do? So this is an empathy-based question. You will scold the students, you will try to find out the reason, and some other options will be there. And we know that the best thing is to try to understand the reason why the child has been late to the class. So one good quality of an effective teacher is patience and empathy. The next one is passion for teaching. In yesterday's class, we were talking a lot about passion. So as a teacher, you should have passion for teaching, genuine interest in guiding and nurturing young minds. The next one is adaptability and flexibility. Based on the adjusting to different situations, adjusting to the different needs of learners is adaptability and flexibility. As a teacher, you should have strong communication skills, communicating effectively with children, not only children, with parents and colleagues, right? You should have strong verbal skills. Next one is creativity and innovation. Designing engaging and effective learning experiences is something that is expected from a teacher. You cannot do the same thing for each and every class. You're teaching different topics, but your method is same. That will bore the students. So using different methods for different learning contexts, designing engaging activities where learners are, going through the content in innovative ways and in different and more engaging ways is something that is expected from a teacher. So creativity and innovation is also a quality of an effective teacher. Then dedication and commitment. Commitment to the growth and well-being of every child should be the major goal of an teacher. Then the last one is ethical conduct. In the previous slide, also we talked about ethical conduct, upholding professional standards and integrity. Okay, upholding the highest professional standards and integrity. And when you as a teacher will practice it, it will of course imbibe and will be picked up by your learners, your students. Yes, send it out with respect to qualities of an effective teacher, or shall we move on to the next one? Okay, we'll move on to the next one. So let us discuss about the noble profession of teaching. So, as I said, I was discussing in the previous classes also that teaching is considered one of the highest rewarding profession or job satisfaction profession, where professionals are having the highest satisfaction on what they are doing. Is one of the profession is teaching. So in Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Mysore, I would like to bring up this case. There is a science teacher known as Jai Bharati Madam. So she has vast experience of teaching. She has 30 plus years of teaching experience and she is highly content. Her students are IAS officers, IPS officers, doctors, engineers, and entrepreneurs. Very big personalities her students have become. And when she talks about the profession of teaching, when she talks about what she was able to achieve and what she still craves for, she has only 4 years of service left, but she still wants to do so much for her learners, is what is all the whole profession about. Okay, so I have met one such teacher and I have worked under her and I was really happy. So Jai Bharati Madam was the one who gave me a lot of motivation and I from her I learned that this profession can be highly rewarding. So teaching is a highly impactful profession because we are going to have a lot of impact. Our students are now very old. They might be 40, 50, 40 years also, or, in and around that age. They still call them, they still talk to their teachers, they still wish them, they still update them regarding what is happening in their life. Right. So teaching is a very highly rewarding and impactful profession. You're going to have a huge impact on the lives of the students that you're going to teach. Then, as a teacher, you should be a continuous learner also. So embrace ongoing growth as an educator, right? So continuous learning is something that you have to do. You should always update yourself with the latest trends and proceedings that are happening. For this, I always give the example of COVID-19. What happened during COVID-19? Suddenly classes shifted from offline to online. And there were many teachers who did not know how to start an online class, how to mute, how to unmute, how to share screens. Where you all have you all experienced online classes during COVID?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yeah. So were you able to notice all these difficulties in the initial stages that the teachers were having?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. So what I was saying is that continuous learning is something that as a professional, you should commit to because every time this is a very dynamic field. Now AI has come in. So everything is changing very quickly. And if you're not keeping up with the pace of it, you will be outdated. So continuous learning, embracing ongoing growth as an educator is very important. Then commitment and preparation. As a dedicated teacher, you should be committed to your work and you should always prepare before going to a class. Again, I'll go back to the example of Jaya Bharati Madam of JNV Mysore. She has so much experience, but still she prepares before going to a class. She gathers her teaching learning resources, she plans, and then she goes and executes. So commitment and preparation is something that should come from within. A genuine dedication to the teaching role is something that is expected from a teacher. And the basic thing is understanding children. So you should have deep knowledge of children's needs and how they develop. So when you're able to identify the children's needs, you're able to plan and give interventions based on the needs of the learners, which will help them grow and improve. So this was the first half. We were able to complete the first half. Now we are going to start emotional and social adjustment. Before that, we'll take a break. So how long of a break do you